Let's see if I can do this. It's good to be back. I had to take 2 weeks off after I got hit by kidney stones. It's nothing serious, just excruciating pain. On a scale of 1 to 10, kidney stones are a 10. Ultimate pain. It's like being forced to watch the series finale of Modern Family. So painful, and it required medication that turned my brain into mush. I'm still taking some of that medication, and for a while I just couldn't do anything. So I know there are people out there with real pain and real sickness. I want to assure you I'm fine. I'm just not 100%, so please be patient with me. Kidney stones are something else. I would wish them on my worst enemy. I would wish kidney stones on my worst enemy. It's a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, signifying nothing. It's just pain, just pure pain. And there are a lot of people I wish kidney stones on. A lot of people deserve a lot of physical pain to give them time to think about who they are and what they've done. Unfortunately, these are the same people who can afford doctors as well as pain medication. But I've had some time to think and read. I thought of my excruciating pain and the pain so many Americans must live with because they're too frightened to see a doctor for fear of bankruptcy. I have pretty good insurance, but even I am terrified of the surprise bills that await me. The doctors, the nurses who cared for me, kindest people I've ever met in my life, but in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, is this going to break my bank? In America, they try to convince us that we are consumers of health care. We have a choice. We shop around. But when you're in agonizing pain, you're not a consumer. You're not shopping around for the best urologist like he's a flat screen TV at Best Buy. You hop into the nearest emergency room and you throw yourself on the mercy of the American healthcare system. Now, it varies from state to state and city to city. I live in Manhattan, and I've been assured there are laws here in Manhattan that will protect me from the ravages of our health insurance industry. But we shall see. Now, kidney stones are painful. That's it. Nothing serious. Just a lot of pain, and it took a lot out of me. And I'm curious to see what my insurance covers and what it doesn't. Well, did I say curious? Terrified. I'm terrified to see what my insurance covers and what it doesn't. We shall see. Free health care is a human right. And if you don't believe that, you're a monster. 30 million Americans still have no health insurance despite Obamacare. And 43% of us, 43% of America's working adults have Obamacare but can't afford to use it. What kind of country is this? What kind of people are we? Medicare for all. Medicare for all changes everything. Nobody should have the pain I suffered and be too frightened to see a doctor. We are the only industrialized nation that puts up with this, and it is unmitigated greed. That is it. It's just greed. Medicare for all. Ask your parents or your grandparents what they think of Medicare. Ask our veterans what they think of government-provided health care administered by the Veterans Administration. They will tell you it's not perfect because nothing is, but they wouldn't trade it for private insurance. Medicare for all. It is criminal that health insurance companies are allowed to exist. By law, 20% of health insurance costs in America are allowed to go towards overhead, towards salaries, unnecessary paperwork, and dividends for stockholders. By law, here in America, we allow a 20% markup on health insurance that we know of. We spend nearly $5 trillion a year here in America on healthcare. $5 trillion, that's more per capita than any other country, with the worst results. America's life expectancy is shrinking, and we're actually getting shorter here in America. Now, Big Pharma plays a role in this, but at least they make something. Big Pharma, problematic, but they do cure disease. Granted, Big Pharma gets most of their research and development money from our government, but at least they make something. Health insurance companies, however, do nothing. They're like Robert Iger, the head of Disney. They create nothing. They do nothing other than skim off the top and create obstacles for the people who know what they're actually doing. Health insurance companies create nothing other than paperwork. It is the job of a health insurance company to rob patients and doctors of time. Doctors must hire 2, sometimes 3 full-time employees just to deal with the health insurance companies so they can get paid and their treatments for their patients can be authorized. How is this efficient? How is this not criminal? There is no added value. Healthcare brings no added value. Health insurance companies bring no added value. They are like pirate toll booth operators who see a bridge they didn't build, they can't repair it, but they just stand in front of it and say, give me $20 or you're going to swim across. They are mobsters. Health insurance companies are racketeers. They run a protection scheme. Healthcare is incredibly expensive, they say, so give us your money. Well, it's expensive because health insurance companies are demanding all this money. You mark it up by at least 20%. Doesn't matter. Give us your money or something terrible will happen to you. And you give them your money and they don't protect you. They rob you. Oftentimes, they kill you. It's the mob. 20% of America's gross domestic product is spent on health care. Now, again, Big Pharma is responsible for some of that, but at least Big Pharma produces cures to diseases and vaccines. But health insurance companies, they just make it more expensive to see a doctor by at least 20%. They do nothing other than make healthcare more expensive and more profitable for people who own stock in health insurance companies. That's all health insurance companies do. They make healthcare unaffordable. That's the role health insurance companies play. They contribute nothing. They create nothing other than obstacles. They grind healthcare to a halt. Through administrative waste, health insurance companies wear us down until we give up and decide it's less of a headache to just live with the headache. Meanwhile, United Healthcare, which provides insurance to 50 million Americans, recorded record profits this month. In the last quarter, United Healthcare made $5.5 billion in profit. In one quarter, in 3 months, United Healthcare made $5.5 billion in profits. Doing what? Collecting premiums and denying claims. That's how they make their money. Taking more premiums than you pay out in treatment. The business model for health insurance companies is to slowly kill their customers until they can be replaced by younger and healthier customers who don't need health care. United Healthcare is not a health care provider. It's a health care denier. The government can do better. In fact, the government does do better. The Veterans Administration and Medicare, Medicare for all. It's hard to get an exact number, but it has been estimated that as many as 50,000 Americans die each year from being underinsured or having no insurance whatsoever. According to Gallup, 25% Americans say they or an immediate family member, like a child or parent, delayed getting medical treatment for an illness because they couldn't afford it. The number one cause of bankruptcy in America is medical debt. 137 million Americans, that's more than half of us, 137 million Americans say they are experiencing some sort of financial hardship due to medical bills. If you're not talking about outlawing health insurance companies, you're the problem. Like kidney disease, like heart disease, and cancer, health insurance is a killer. Know your enemy. You know, in World War II, we knew who the enemy was. We knew we had to destroy Hitler because you cannot coexist with evil. This is the face of evil, Sir Andrew Whitty. Know the name, Sir Andrew Whitty. He is the CEO of United Healthcare. That is the largest health insurance company in the world. It's the largest health insurance company in the world because it's headquartered here in America, and the rest of the world is too kind and too smart to have health insurance companies like we do here in America. This guy, Sir Andrew Whitty, is British. United Healthcare is headquartered in Minnesota. It's the world's 11th largest company. Now, Sir Andrew Whitty is the face of evil. Now, I wish him no harm. I really don't. Maybe kidney stones. Yes, I wish him kidney stones while he's on a camping trip and there's no morphine to help him with the pain. Yes, definitely. I wish Sir Andrew Whitty my kidney stones without morphine. But that's all. That's all. I wish him some of these stones that came out of me. These are actual pictures of my kidney stones that came out of me. This is Little Carmine, Big Carmine, Tiny Al, Little Snooky, Don Pablo, Jimmy Boots, he was a monster, LoJack Scafuzzo and his wife, Hijack Scafuzzo. This is Russell Buffalino. This is an MRI of my bladder early on. Russell Buffalino. This is Iceman Scarfo. This is him making his way down my urethra. Skinny Razor. Fat Man Skinny Razor. Tony Pro Abramowitz. Sally Bugs. And, of course, Jerry Vale. These are pictures of Jerry Vale swimming through my kidneys, urethra, my bladder, the great Jerry Vale. I wish all those kidney stones on Sir Andrew Whitty, the CEO of United Healthcare. Now, I'm sure Andrew Whitty is a loving father, and he's probably built something resembling the Autobahn. So like Hitler's friends, Sir Andrew Whitty's friends can say he's a mixed bag, right? I don't wish him any harm, just my kidney stones without morphine. And I'd like to outlaw Sir Andrew Whitty. He's not an American. I think he should be deported. He is evil. He runs an evil company, United Healthcare. They kill people. He's a serial killer. He is no different from anybody who runs a cigarette company. Now, we could save hundreds of thousands of lives each year by switching to Medicare for all. And I need to move on. There are other things I want to talk about. But the answer is Medicare for all. And perhaps it's time to stop framing it as Medicare for all. Maybe it's time to call this a war on greed, a war on people like Sir Andrew Whitty. Maybe it's time to call these health insurance company executives like Sir Andrew Whitty, not an American, who runs United Healthcare. Maybe it's time to call Sir Andrew Whitty what he is, a serial killer. Maybe Medicare for all isn't catching on in America because we haven't demonized the right people. It's time to demonize our enemy, like Sir Andrew Whitty, the CEO of United Healthcare. He is no different from Vladimir Putin. Well, I take that back because Vladimir Putin hasn't killed as many Americans as Sir Andrew Whitty has. Sir Andrew Whitty is not an American. He's a foreigner, a serial killer who should be deported. Now, Sir Andrew Whitty, he is our enemy. I want no harm to come to him other than my kidney stones with no morphine. But I want him to leave my country, and I want his entire criminal enterprise, health insurance, wiped out. The answer to all this nonsense is holding our politicians accountable and making them promise to exterminate the health insurance companies. Forget demanding Medicare for all. It's too gentle and anodyne. This is America. We thrive on hate. Exterminate the health insurance companies. This is the only country in the industrialized world that allows health insurance companies to make the profits they make by killing so many citizens. This is the only way we can fix healthcare in America, by exterminating the health insurance companies. Any politician who says they want universal health care or claims they want Medicare for all, but isn't willing to say they support the extermination of health insurance companies, they're not being honest, and they're not on our side. Forget Medicare for all. Exterminate the health insurance companies. Anything short of that is failure. Know your enemy, then exterminate it before it exterminates you. Exterminate the health insurance companies. We can't have both. You can't have universal health care and health insurance companies. Any politician who insists otherwise is a con artist. Exterminate health insurance companies. I'm kind of back, sort of. I'm not 100%. This is this is fun. This is good. This is why I wanted to come back early for this part of the show. This is Congressman Steve Cohen. I can't wait to show you this. Congressman Steve Cohen represents Tennessee's 9th Congressional District. He's a Democrat who sits on the House Judiciary Committee. Now, he's a lawyer, And that's why he sits on the House Judiciary Committee. Makes sense, right? Steve Cohen, Congressman Steve Cohen, Democrat, got his law degree from the University of Memphis. I can't wait to tell you this. I probably should have taken tonight off and come back Monday, but this couldn't wait. So Democrat Steve Cohen got his law degree from the University of Memphis. And then after passing the bar, he passed the bar. He began practicing criminal law in Tennessee, and he eventually became a judge, and then he ran for Congress. I know this feels kind of unnecessary to bring up, that a Democrat who sits on the House Judiciary Committee passed the bar, worked as a lawyer, served as a judge. You would think, of course, that's normal. That's why he sits on the House Judiciary Committee. It's reasonable to expect someone who sits on the House Judiciary Committee to be a lawyer, right? Well, apparently not. So I'm going to play Congressman Cohen during last week's House Judiciary Committee hearings when FBI Director Christopher Wray was testifying. Now, like I said, Steve Cohen, Democrat, House Judiciary Committee, passes the bar, becomes a judge. But apparently, Republicans don't think lawyers should be serving on the House Judiciary Committee. So Christopher Wray testified, was tortured by the Republicans last week when he testified before the House Judiciary Committee. He's the director of the FBI. He was appointed by Donald Trump in 2017. He's not my favorite person, right? He's an attorney right there. It's a personal betrayal that he's an attorney. He graduated from Yale Law School, which should be criminal. And he's a member of the Federalist Society, which has handpicked all three of Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominees. Not a good guy, Christopher Wray. He's a Republican. And he's worth, according to Newsweek, as much as $40 million. Much of that fortune comes from working as a corporate lawyer defending Russian gas companies. All that being said, not my favorite guy, but he has testified that Antifa doesn't exist. The head of the FBI, Christopher Wray, has testified that Antifa doesn't exist. Somewhat refreshing. He testified as FBI director that Antifa is an ideology, not some centralized organization, despite what Fox News and every Republican on the Judiciary Committee wants you to believe. Christopher Wray, not my favorite person, head of the FBI, has also testified recently that the biggest threat of domestic terrorism comes not from Black Lives Matter, but from white supremacists. And that's precisely why Republicans despise FBI Director Christopher Wray, despite all his prickish bona fides. He's got all the bona fides to be a Republican prick, except for one thing. He tells the truth. He's not willing to create imaginary enemies. Antifa doesn't exist, and Black Lives Matter doesn't riot. He knows that, and he says it. So, apparently, during the hearings last week before the House Judiciary Committee, someone on the House Judiciary Committee, a Republican, questioned FBI Director Christopher Wray's standing as a lawyer. Apparently, I didn't see exactly what happened. Some Republican who sits on the Judiciary Committee intimated that perhaps the FBI director was delinquent in paying his dues to some bar association, something like that. And that pissed off Tennessee Congressman Stephen Cohen, and he went on the offense. And this is what he said.
And yet they had the chutzpah, the audacity, the lack of integrity to question Wray's judgment. and went on and on. And I was sorry, I came in here today and I'm
Is the gentleman accusing us of a lack of integrity?
Mr. Chairman, if you would ask whoever it is to shut up.
That would be Stephen Cohn telling Congressman Darrell Issa, Republican, to shut up. Republican Darrell Issa is upset because Stephen Cohen accused the Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee of lacking integrity. Okay? This is Congressman Darrell Issa. He's a Republican member of the House Judiciary Committee, and he interrupted Congressman Steve Cohen, Democrat, because he's concerned about people besmirching his integrity as well as the integrity of other Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee. So Congressman Stephen Cohen, Democrat, apparently thinks some members of the House Judiciary Committee lack not just integrity, but an understanding of the law. Now, Congressman Cohen, Democrat, he passed the bar, worked as a criminal attorney, became a judge. Apparently, he finds it outrageous that anyone in the Republican Party on the House Judiciary Committee would question FBI Director Christopher Wray's legal qualifications. Here's more of Congressman Steve Cohen.
And I heard some questions about your relationship with the Bar Association. You don't ask about membership in the Bar Association on a Judiciary Committee where there are members who never passed the bar and aren't members of the bar. And they are members of this committee in good standing. So we need to get beyond the hypocrisy and realize where we are and don't raise such subjects.
So I didn't know this. And that's Darrell Issa turning his head and looking around, feeling his integrity has been besmirched. Now, Steve Cohen didn't mention names. He didn't say which Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee never passed the bar. So I did a little research. Congressman Darrell Issa, Republican member of the House Judiciary Committee, not a lawyer, never went to law school, but he's a Republican, so he gets to sit on the House Judiciary Committee. I don't know, maybe my listeners are much smarter than I am. Maybe you already knew this. I did not. I would assume that Darrell Issa, sitting on the House Judiciary Committee, would be a lawyer. Now, in all fairness, Darrell Issa is no stranger to the criminal justice system. We've talked about this for years on this show, Darrell Issa's criminal past. Back in 2019, when Darrell Issa, Republican, he took a break from Congress, and Donald Trump nominated him to serve as head of the U.S. Trade and Development Agency. But that nomination hit a snag when the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, which had to approve him, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee accused Darrell Issa of withholding embarrassing information to the FBI when they were conducting their background checks on him. Now, we've covered Darrell Issa's criminal record for years. Issa has been arrested several times for auto theft, arson, threatening someone with a gun. He's been convicted of possession of an unregistered gun. It goes on, but he's also one of the wealthiest members of Congress. So put him on the Judiciary Committee. It's not like he hasn't had any experience with the Justice Department. Excuse me. Okay, it gets better. Here's where it gets really good. I'm going to assume, is there anything Congressman Cohen would like to say to Darrell Issa?
Shut up.
Yes, thank you. I like Steve Cohen. I'm going to assume my listeners already knew this, but I didn't. Jim Jordan, he's the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. And while he went to law school, he's never practiced law. He can't practice law because he's never passed the bar exam. Jim Jordan, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, never passed the bar. I don't know. Maybe you already knew this. I did not. Seems to me, I don't think it's asking too much that the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Donald Trump's attack dog, right? Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to me he should have passed the bar. Congressman Cohen, anything you'd like to say to Congressman Jim Jordan?
Shut up.
Yeah. Congressman Troy Nehls is a congressman from Texas. Sits on the House Judiciary Committee. Not a lawyer. But he got elected to Congress in 2020, running on his 20-year history as a sheriff and law enforcement officer. He had been elected as Fort Bend County Sheriff in 2012. He got reelected in 2016. But what came to light when he was running for Congress back in 2020 is that he got fired in 1998 by the Richmond Police Department. They sacked him for committing 19 violations in just 1 year. They accused him of making false arrests and destroying evidence. It was all in 1 year. And then when he got elected sheriff, 2 prisoners in fewer than 2 months died on his watch, and he was sanctioned by the Texas Commission on Jail Standards. Not a lawyer. Probably, if he weren't a congressman, would be in need of one for his record as a police officer. Congressman Cohen, is there anything you'd like to say to Congressman Nehls?
Shut up.
Yeah. This is Jeff Van Drew. He represents New Jersey's 2nd Congressional District. He sits on the House Judiciary Committee. He used to be a Democrat. He switched to the GOP in 2019, and he got a plum committee assignment, got to sit on the House Judiciary Committee. He's a dentist, not a lawyer. He's a dentist. I'm guessing he's the only Republican on the committee who's ever performed a legal cavity search. Anything you would like to say, Steve Cohn, to Congressman Jeff Van Drew?
Shut up.
Yeah, really, they should just shut the F up. This is Scott Fitzgerald, Republican from Wisconsin, also sits on the House Judiciary Committee, not a lawyer.
Shut up.
Yeah, shut up. And another Republican congressman from Wisconsin, Tom Tiffany. He sits on the House Judiciary Committee, not a lawyer. But Tom Tiffany voted against making Juneteenth a national holiday, so he's got that going for him in the Republican Party.
Shut up.
Well, there you have a House Judiciary Committee run by Republicans who either never went to law school or never passed the bar. And who better to advocate for Donald Trump's innocence than a bunch of right-wing idiots who haven't any clue what our nation's laws are. I'm David Feldman, reminding you to stay strong and protect the weak. I want to thank the mods. If you're watching us live on YouTube, I want to thank the moderators for keeping the conversation going. And I'm kind of back. I'm not 100%, but I'm coming back. And thank you for listening. And hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you.